Welcome back to the Zero Weakness Podcast, where we talk about how to be a better lifter, how to be a better coach, and everything in between. Make sure you subscribe and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Zero Weakness Podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Establishment Coffee. Go to establishmentcoffee.com.au, use the code 025 and get 25% off your order and free shipping. Henny, who do we have on the podcast today?
We've got a special guest all the way from ZeroW Mackay. We've got Kahn Stephenson. Thanks for coming on.
Let's go.
I believe it's Kahn Stephenson.
It's definitely not Tom.
Whoa.
Jeepers.
Hot in here.
He's coming through to make a statement, I think.
Yep.
Look at his fists. Why are you clenching, brother? Relax.
Must be hot in here. That's why you're breathing so loud.
Big lungs. Just happy to be here with the boys and down here for IPL Worlds.
Nice.
It's going to be a great few 4 days. Favourite part is today, obviously, packing the truck up and carrying up the Novotel stairs. So
Can't wait.
yeah, pretty pumped. It's weird though. People go missing, hey, Henny?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I could call them backpacks.
Yeah. Not me and Kahn.
Oh,
Getting the work done.
whenever you need, brother.
Now, what's been happening, everybody? CJ, stop laughing, brother. We've got a podcast to record.
Oh man.
CJ, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Actually, just prepping for Worlds. All equipment has come in for the live stream, so I've just been doing that.
Prepping.
Just to clarify, he doesn't mean lifting.
No, I'm not competing at Worlds. I'm a novice lifter.
I was going to say, this is a world powerlifting, not world novice powerlifting.
Novice powerlifting. Hopefully, I'll qualify for that comp. But yeah, more on the tech side of things. And I guess training-wise, just normal training, doing a strength block. So really enjoying it.
Odd places to be training as well, CJ. I don't know if you follow CJ on Instagram. It doesn't look like he's been training at Zero.
Well, I used to follow him.
Yeah, me too.
Now I've unfriended and blocked.
Yeah.
Now, talk to us. Where you been training? UFC?
Yes.
Doing some fighting stuff?
Yeah, doing a bit of boxing.
Nice.
Just really enjoying it. Yeah.
Can I just say something on the podcast as well? So, CJ, I saw you repping out 100 kilos on the bench press now. Congrats.
Nice.
About a year and a half ago, I had a bet with CJ, Jamie Timms, who's the coach and manager at Zero Brisbane, and Bridget Murphy. Bridget had to squat 100, and CJ and Jamie had to try bench 100. This was about a year and a half ago. Bridget's now squatting upwards of 120. CJ's doing sets at 8 at 100. Jamie Timms, what have you been doing, brother?
Oh, that's weird. I hear crickets. Jamie, where are you? Hello.
It's not usually so quiet.
Yeah. Too busy climbing rocks and playing soccer, I reckon.
Man, jumping
Yes.
from rock to rock and getting full off of 2 sips of coffee.
Still trying to find his shirt from training. There's the shirt off.
Just disappears. It's like pumping iron.
Yeah.
Shirt got stolen.
How good. What have you been up to, Thomas?
I've just come back from America, so I'm not going to say much about that because we'll have to get Daniel on for the tour review.
The boys on tour.
The boys on tour. Just got back from the States, and now we're jumping straight into this competition, which I am extremely excited about.
Oh, yeah.
I don't reckon you've stopped for about 5 months now.
It's going to be a way cruisier setup and comp in general than nationals, especially now that we know what we're doing. So yeah, I reckon it's going to be a real cool weekend. So yeah.
What about you, Kahn? What have you been up to?
Been sweating in Mackay. Now though our aircons are fixed, so it's been awesome. Apart from that, man, pretty stock standard. Just some training, some coaching, a little bit of traveling here and there for competitions, but otherwise pretty easy. Up at the Mac.
Nice.
The Mac. Can you stop tapping your feet?
That was a sigh, by the way. Wasn't me breathing.
Big lungs, brother. Big lungs.
Oh man.
What have I been up to? I've been just same old. I think I say the same thing every single week. Lifting, running, work. Not much else.
Nice.
It's good. 5 weeks out from my race.
Nice. Saving us by sourcing some socks.
Yes.
Yeah, James saved the day there. Kahn saved the day yesterday, picking up mats and driving all over Brisbane, saving our lives for the comp tomorrow. CJ exists.
I went to Tweed to pick up cables.
Do you have to go to Tweed?
Yeah. I found a bargain though, so that's why I went there.
Was it a J car or?
Nah, it was like a cable distributor.
I thought it was really cheap.
Yeah, really
Oh,
cheap.
well, thank you.
Yeah, nice.
I'll give you fuel levy. Just take it out of ZeroW Mackay's account
Yeah.
while he's here.
Yeah.
All right, gratitudes. Kahn, this is a section we do, as
Yeah.
you know, because you listen to the podcast religiously.
Heaps.
What are you grateful for this week, brother?
I'm grateful. I'm grateful that powerlifting has enabled me to travel around, meet so many different people. I get to come down here and hang out with the boys in Bridge often, and I'm just grateful to be able to share that lifestyle with my lifters.
Very cool. Very cool. And more than just powerlifting as well, like your figure, physique, bodybuilding, whatever you categorize that as, has taken you and Becca all over the country for the last month or two.
Yeah, that's been crazy, man. It wasn't until we've travelled overseas previously for Becca's competitions, but this was the first year having a competitor go overseas and being able to travel with her as well. So, it's pretty cool, I guess, as far as like what coaching and where it takes you, and places and experiences and things that you wouldn't probably have unless you were doing what we're doing.
Yes.
And being able to work with people and stuff and being able to share those experiences with people's, it's pretty cool.
James.
I'm grateful for, we got a big weekend to work, but I'm grateful that that's what I get to call work. Could you imagine fucking digging holes for 12 hours? Sorry, no offense. Some people actually do that for a job. But
Well, you used to do that.
yeah,
So,
I used to have that,
been there.
I've done a proper 12-hour day of work. So I'm grateful that I get to, at times it can be stressful, but I get to hang out with my friends. And like Kahn said, I don't get to see Kahn all the time. So I get to hang out with Kahn and a whole bunch of people that we only know as internet friends for the next few days, which is going to be cool.
For sure.
Really grateful.
CJ.
I'm grateful for programming. I think.
You don't follow it.
What do you mean?
I'm grateful someone takes the time and effort to put into it
Yes,
for me to use it as a guideline.
as a mere suggestion. No. I'm very grateful for it because without it, man, I'd still be like winging it at a gym. And when I talk to my mates and hear what their workout regime is, I'm like, yeah, man, I would have been a lot worse. Not any dig at only my mates that train, but yeah, like just having no structure and no goals going anywhere or anyone to help give me clarity and walk me through that, I think is a huge part, pretty much most of the part of why I've made progress.
Yeah, shut up, Bridget. You've gotten so strong.
Bridge dog.
You'll almost be stronger than me soon, I reckon.
Almost.
Bro,
Still never be able to run as far.
No, you meant to fight back, brother. You meant to say you're already stronger than me.
Nah.
Chinese the bag, brother. Hit him.
Hit him.
Once you bring dots into the equation, it's a bit of a...
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Bit of a different story.
Yeah.
Kahn, let's not talk about hitting the bag on the podcast, please.
Oh, sorry. Calluses on his elbows.
Amazing.
Tom, bro.
I am grateful for the lifter. I'm grateful for power lifters. Without the lifter putting their faith and their trust into us, we don't have Zero, we don't have APL, we don't have Worlds. It's really cool that people are willing to travel across the world, across the country to come support the comp that we're putting on this week. In general, the lifters are really cool. Like they make our job really good. Because, think if the kind of people that we were dealing with were all assholes, we wouldn't love the jobs that we have. And sure, there's some bad eggs, but they're few and far between. The majority of the people are great. And without all the lifters supporting this podcast, this gym, this federation, we wouldn't do what we do. So thank you, lifter.
How good.
Nice.
Good gratitudes.
All right, Kahn, this is all about you. We've actually done a podcast with Kahn ages ago, back when it was the old style with just me rambling on. Most people listening to this probably didn't hear that. So we're going to reintroduce you.
Cool.
You want to tell the people who you are, a little bit about yourself, how you got into lifting, how it all began, and what you do now.
Yeah, cool. I'm Kahn Stephenson, obviously, and then I'm a partner in ZeroW Mackay with Thomas and Dean Ilgath. We've been up there now I've been coaching for close to 7 years, but as part of Zero for it'll be 2 years in November. So right now, which is really cool. And I've known Thomas throughout the industry, and I've known a bit prior to Zero. And then with Dean, I've known him. He was actually the person that got me into powerlifting. So the way I got into powerlifting was I was playing rugby league, had a few hiccups and stuff, and then I had a pretty serious head knock, or series of head knocks that led me to having to take some time off. And I was just in the gym benching one day, and I knew Dean from just being around Snap, and everyone knew him as the guy that wore the Inza suit in the commercial part of the gym. You know, the one that rides right up. Yeah.
They're the best suits as well.
You'll love that. There's your shout out.
And a commercial gym too. That's even better.
Yeah. And
I don't know why I found that so funny. So I just imagine Dean walking around a commercial gym.
if you go on his on his YouTube, there's still videos of him benching in it. It's the best thing ever.
Nice.
Check it out, Dean Ilgath. So yeah, I was benching in the gym, and I was just talking to him. He was asking how footy was going, and I just explained to him that I can't do it for 12 months. And he's like, oh, you look at competing and all these sort of things, and tell me about this powerlifting thing. And I was like, all right, well, this would be cool. I want to do a comp right now. But there wasn't any Mackay for a while. But there was a PA comp in Townsville 4 weeks from that time. So I basically learned the rules as quick as I could and went up there and did my first comp. I think I scored 140. I benched 147.5. You can tell what I trained, eh? Heaps of legs, heaps of squats. Sleeves and wraps, not in wraps part.
The wraps is what added the 200 kilos.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Cheating dogs. And then deadlifted, I think like 220 or something. And yeah, and then basically, I think that was back in 2016 or 17. And from there, fell in love with the sport and went from being a participant in the sport to then starting to coach people within the sport and into the sport, and then now where we are now, being part of the Zero team.
So what made you start coaching in the first place? Like, obviously you love the sport, but what were you doing for work before, and how did you sort of decide, well, I think this is what I want to turn into a bit of a career?
Yeah, I was PTing at the time, and I was also working part-time at a supplement store, Master Nutrition Mackay. Shout out to those guys. They've sponsored every single Mackay powerlifting comp that they could, and they've been big supporters of us in Zero Mackay and sponsor all their medals for Zero Mackay's comps.
Yep.
So big shout out to those guys, still supporting us. So yeah, I was doing that, and then I just was training a few people, and because I started getting into powerlifting, a few of my clients were asking about it and stuff, and got more involved with MPL at the time, and then from there, it kind of just organically happened. Hey, like it went from me PTing people for body composition and, you know, changing the lifestyle, and nothing really specific to all of a sudden having a sport or more of a specific clientele that I was working with. And I was working with shot putters and discus throwers and stuff at the time as well. So the natural transition for a lot of those girls and guys that, you know, they come out of school and no longer competing at those sports was to get into sports like powerlifting or strongman or CrossFit. And from there, yeah, just organically kind of happened. And before I knew it, I was coaching primarily powerlifters and junior sports, and obviously the bodybuilding stuff too. So yeah, which is probably how the bodybuilding stuff is probably where I grew the quickest, very quickly. But then the powerlifting stuff is what all the powerlifting clientele is what I guess really boosted the ranges of clients that I was coaching in quantity.
You've probably mentioned already on the previous podcast you did with Kahn, but how did you guys meet? How did you guys form a relationship?
What's your story?
He messaged me on Tinder. No, so gave me a super like.
You know that's fake because it was on Grindr.
Yeah. Super likes, no destination required. But he, I think just through Dean really. Hey, you come to a few of our comps of ref and stuff. Obviously I knew who he was when I started to really get into powerlifting back in the PTC Gold Coast days when you're at Mermaid Beach, I think it was.
No, Runaway Bay.
Runaway Bay, yeah.
Yeah, you came to the gym a bunch of times, and I'm pretty sure most of the time I wasn't there.
No.
Or I gave you a code or a key and I let you train outside of hours a couple of times. I can't really remember.
Yeah. And then from there, I think talking more through a little bit through like there's still messages I think I sent you ages ago now when we were first conversing on social media, and I just asked a couple of questions about my squats and stuff, and you always helped me out with that, and I guess just got to know you more, so, probably again because of Dean. What's your story?
Yeah, no, Dean's the connection point for sure. Dean's just a champion of everything, like champion of powerlifting, a champion of connecting people, a champion of getting people help. Like Dean is really he's the heart and soul of powerlifting in Mackay, or he was, and now it's transitioned into Zero as a whole up there. So yeah, I had known Kahn. I knew of Kahn for ages because Dean would always talk about you and talk about everyone up there. Always spoke very highly of Kahn, and then Kahn came and trained here a few times, and I met him briefly up there, and then the story of Zero is like I was on a holiday or going on a bit of a trip to Hamilton Island. And on the way up, stopping through Mackay, and we had dinner with Dean and Carly, and Kahn and Becca came along, and at dinner he mentioned he wanted to open a gym, and of course me being me was like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. So sort of left that conversation with a few ideas. Spoke to Dean about, do you think he'd be interested if I float the idea of Zero, because I'd toyed with the Zero Mackay. I'd spoken to Dean about it over the years, about it, extending the business, because I feel like I coached half of Mackay for so many years. Like I had a big presence in Mackay for a long time. I think Dean might have floated it to you, or said, yeah, just reach out to him or whatever. And then we started talking about that, and away we went.
Yeah, it was, I remember it was like 2 days after we had dinner. I think we were talking on Facebook, and I think it was within that week we ordered our first batch of equipment. It was very quick.
Happened quick. Same as the story with Daniel. Like, once we said yes, it was just like, yeah, hit it.
Yeah, it happened. It happened very quickly. But yeah, basically just start off as a dinner and an idea, and off it went.
And how's Zero Mackay looking right now? Like, what's the plans for Zero Mackay in the future? How's it going? How's it all going right now?
Yeah, it's going good, man. The gym's pumping along, which is really good. We've got myself, Becca, Carly, and Wick that operate out of there via coaching and admin and all that sort of stuff. Dean obviously helps out on his days off. The gym itself is going really well. As far as like the future of Zero Mackay, we've definitely got some ideas and stuff what we're going to do. For the immediate future, it's just continuing to refine our product, continuing to service our members the way that we are, and just looking at how we can improve the business as always, and making sure that we're always doing the best job that we can. For the back area at the moment, there's a few things that we wanted to do. Just with like the mirrors that are going up at the back and stuff. Otherwise, we're pretty much like Mackay's pretty set up now. We've got pretty much everything we need, I think.
Yeah, it's an amazing gym. No, like numbers wise, Zero Mackay is the biggest Zero by like double.
Yeah,
yep.
That's it.
Like members wise, and it's a pumping gym. Mackay's actually crazy. Like the world gym in Mackay. I don't know if this is still a relevant stat, but I know a couple of years ago it was the 4th biggest world gym members wise in the country.
Yeah, wow.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's like members, people going to gym wise in Mackay is massive.
Yeah, it's quite big.
Well, everyone's jacked as well in Mackay.
There's nothing else to
There's
do.
nothing else to do.
Go to coffee club, get a coffee, have a eggs Benny, and then off you go to the gym. That's it. And then the odd festival. That's it.
Literally though, everyone's jacked. Like you see videos at World's Gym, everyone seems like they take their training really seriously in Mackay.
The thing is though in Mackay as well, because it is a smaller town and these sort of things, you've got a massive population of people that compete in various sports, and Mackay is home to a lot of like up and coming athletes, but also a lot of athletes that have gone to the Olympics, in the NRL, and all these sort of things too. So there's a lot of good junior pathways, and we've been able to create programs throughout Zero Mackay as part of like junior athlete development programs and stuff like this. So we get to see firsthand how talented the future of athletes coming out of Mackay is.
I always love coming into Mackay Airport. You walk down like that Hall of Fame. There's so many people that I had no idea were from Mackay that are super famous Australian athletes.
Yeah, we've got like a lot of sprinters. We've got a couple of shot putters, and then we've got a lot of wheelchair basketball, like national, international representatives.
Yeah.
So there's a handful of people like Daly Chair Evans and stuff like that in the NRL. Like there's a lot of really good rugby league players that have come out of Mackay, and either have made a standpoint in the NRL and have been stayed in there and played a lot of games, or have gone on to do really cool things in Q Cup. And that's we've got a few girls that have gone to the Opals. Now that the women's rugby league in Mackay is women's rugby league in general in the NRL is really starting to go massive.
Yeah.
We've got 3 girls in our gym right now that are actually going to the Cowboys next year.
Yeah, far out.
And we've got 5 young lads that are going to the Cowboys. Actually, they'll be the Cowboys right now for preseason.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got it's really cool to be able to see the whole gym come together. Like, you've got powerlifters, strongman, then you've got the bodybuilders, and then you've got our junior athletes, and you've got the people that are playing various different sports as an adult and stuff. And you got the people in there that are just looking to get a little bit more jacked and get a bit leaner, and everyone just really comes together. And yeah, it's really cool to see.
Let's talk about some of your juniors. Have you seen Lockie? How do you say his last name? Hoornstra? Horseman? Yeah. Horseman?
Yes. Yeah. He's competed here.
What's he going to put up at
Freak.
once?
Oh man, he's had a really good prep. I was sending you some videos the other day.
Yeah.
He's had a monster prep. I think he'll squat anywhere. So for those people listening that don't know who he is, he competes in the 110s. He's just turned 15. He's crazy.
Because he was 14 at Nationals, right?
14 at Nationals, yeah. So he's just turned 15. I think he'll squat anywhere between 240 and 250. I think like absolute perfect day, he'll bench 170, but I think he'll be around that sort of 165-ish mark. And I think he'll deadlift around that sort of 240 to 250 mark as well.
He's such a cool kid too. I got a funny story about him at Nationals. They're in the warm-up room. And, it's Nationals. Everyone's taking themselves pretty seriously. And he goes to Kahn, what time's the comp going to finish? And Kahn's like, well, I don't know why. And he goes, I just want to go to Milky Lane and watch. I want to watch my show.
Yeah, he had an episode of Dragon Ball Z that he didn't get to finish before the comp. So he was literally like wanting to go watch this episode of Dragon Ball Z before he went to Milky Lane.
I feel you're lucky.
Yeah, he brings beef jerky to all his comps. And it's like our thing now. So like before we start warming up, we like have some beef jerky.
Yeah, he loves sharing it too, eh?
Bro, he's such a good kid. And he's one of like so many of the juniors that we get to work with that are just exceptional, on the platform and stuff, but also just as people. Like they're just, you got Matty Smith who's competing this weekend, and he's another great kid who's coming through. You've got Tyler Pittaway who's competing as well, the Manila Gorilla. So
that's one of your brethren.
Yeah, let's go.
You probably know him. He's competing this weekend. Another really good kid. And then we've also just back home. We've got young Charlotte.
Tell them about Charlotte.
Yeah,
tell them about the story of how they decided she should do powerlifting.
Charlotte is she is one of the nicest, and she's unreal at drawing. She drew me this big Super Saiyan drawing of Goku. It's unreal. So the way that Charlotte started getting into powerlifting was that they were at home and they were basically doing some renovations and bringing fridges in, whatever. And everyone walked up the flight of stairs that they needed to get into because it's a 2-story house. And they said, just wait there, Charlotte. A couple of people are going to come down and give you a hand to carry this. It was like one of them half fridges, or like a bar fridge. Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll just, we're going to come down and someone will give you a hand. And then they heard this clunking and they walked out and she was halfway up the stairs carrying this fridge. Mind you, she's 13. Okay. So she started carrying this fridge, and then because she trialed a few sports and stuff and just never really found something, I guess, she really loved and wanted to continue with. Her parents were like, well, we knew her sister from bodybuilding and being around and stuff, and her sister was like, you need to get into powerlifting. So after they seen her do that, this was the first time I ever met Charlotte, and this is how I was introduced to her with this story. She's so cool because she started at 106 kilos and she's down to 92 kilos now. She's, from an athlete perspective, she's so strong. Her best squat's 145, her best bench is 55, and her best deadlift is 130.
How old is she?
She's 14 and a half.
That's awesome.
14 and a half, yeah.
Yeah.
She's a crazy one. But a lot of them, man, they come through and they're so good to coach. A lot of them, they help out at the gym. Like you just wouldn't pick them away from any other person that's been in the gym for a long time.
You're, I don't know if Thomas knows this as well, but Lockie's actually a really good athlete outside of powerlifting.
Yeah.
Like he's you were mentioning he's fast as well.
Yeah, over the 40, he's crazy. He was like number 2 at his school.
Yeah, wow.
And he's under 110. He's a big boy. Yeah.
Man, he's like Eddie Hall, but short. And
fast. Could you imagine that? Imagine being a bully going, I'm going to pick on this big bloke. Yeah. Try run away. This bloke's mowing you down.
Yeah. But yeah, he went and did I think it's the Commonwealth of the Olympics that are coming to Australia in like 2030 or something.
Yeah.
He went and did the trials for that and made the team for shot put and discus.
Far out.
For the junior team for that. But
you need to get him into gridiron.
Oh man, he's a beast. He's one of those kids that can do whatever he wants. But you just walk into somewhere and they're like, "Oh, we're swimming," and he's like, "Oh, sweet, I'm at the Olympics next week." You know?
I like how serious he takes his training too. How he's got everything printed out, and you said he only takes bench press serious, eh?
Yeah. So he'll like every week he sends me his videos and it's bench, and then I have to, hey man, where's your squats and deads? Oh sweet, I'll send it now.
Don't introduce him to Coops.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
My biggest
no.
fear is that Dean gets in his ear too much and he becomes a bench only athlete.
Yeah, don't let him in the gym at the same time as Dean.
Nah, Dean's already. Dean was into him about doing the push pull.
Dean loves a push pull, doesn't he?
He loves a push pull because he does one lift. But he was into the push pull, and I said to Lockie, I'm like, oh no, the push pull is what people that used to be good at powerlifting do. And so I say that, never done a push pull either. So the day I do a push pull, you'll know. I'm done. I'm out. Clocking out, boys. But no, yeah. So it's man. We just got a lot of those. Juniors coming through. We got a lot of older heads in there that have been in powerlifting for a long time as well. So yeah, it's quite a diverse range, and I think because of that, we've been able to have the success that we have with the community that we have in Zero Mackay. But again, that's seen throughout all the zeros as well. So yeah, it's definitely a culture thing that's bred through the brand.
All right, let's talk about Kahn Stephenson, the powerlifter. You used to compete in PA. You've gone to Worlds a few times. Worlds?
No, I did like the
Nationals,
the Commonwealth and stuff. Yeah, the nationals through them in my as a junior. But then when I went into my opens, I transitioned over to GPC.
How many comps did you do in PA?
4. Yeah, 5. I think I did 5 comps in PA.
And is it true that you still want to compete in PA?
Yeah, I'm actually going next week. So, so if you guys can just make sure you just hold off on the slack, that'd be good.
Why did you go to GPC? Was it just because in Mackay that was pretty much the only option?
Yeah, there was a couple of reasons why. One of the reasons, or the biggest reason, was because of that, because I really wanted to compete with the people that I was training with. The other thing was obviously with some of the politics that come with training out of a GPC gym, if you can call a gym any federation, or stick a label on a gym because people train or they compete in that federation, and then going ahead and competing with PA, it just meant that I couldn't spot and load at comps. Well, look, you can do what you want, but it made it very difficult. And then
What makes you nervous about it? It gives you anxiety. Like, if I do this, am I going to get banned? Which isn't actually a rule, but they make up their own rules, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Makes it hard to be part of the community that's not exclusive.
For sure, and that's the thing, man. Like with that stuff, there was an incident that happened basically where there was photos of me spotting and loading sent to people that were some sort of authority in PA, and then I got a bit of flack for that, and I was like, I'm fucking out. Like, I really enjoy this thing, and it was getting to a point where I wasn't enjoying the thing, that thing that I was really looking forward to doing and training because of people that were involved. And I just made a decision. I'm like, why am I? But it doesn't matter what federation I compete with. All that matters is that I just continue to do the thing I'm doing and just get better at it. So I made a choice of going from PA to GPC, purely based off I wanted to compete and I wanted to with the people that I was training with and my buddies and stuff, but also because I wanted to help at the competitions without having to feel like I did something wrong. That was the big one. I wanted to learn how to ref. I wanted to learn how to, I wanted to be part of like the warm-up room and spotting and loading. I wanted to be able to help the community that was helping me back so much. And I felt like if I did that, I was just going to be guilt tripped, and I'm not going to. And I didn't want to be held at ransom for that either.
Yeah.
I've actually never asked you that question, Thomas. What? Because you've done a few PA comps.
Yeah.
What was that like for you back then? Was the landscape of powerlifting different?
Very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, very different. And I wasn't involved in powerlifting very much, so like I just competed with all I knew that existed. And I didn't make a conscious choice of, I'm going to switch federations. Like I didn't have to sit there and think about it. I didn't have anything bad like what Kahn experienced until much later in my powerlifting life. And so for me, it was just like I did a PA comp, then I broke that stupid Guinness World Record. I got back into BMX, and then when I wanted to compete in powerlifting again, I was on forums and there was a novice comp happening at PTC Brisbane. I'm just like, I'll just go and do that. And then I really enjoyed my time there, much more than I enjoyed being part of PA comps. And then Scott started GPC the following year, and I was just like, I like this guy, I like his comps, I'm just going to do that. Like, it wasn't like I have to make this big decision. Nothing like that.
That's quite similar to what I did in my first comp. I competed at APU, my first comp. It was cool. I was really pumped. I didn't know anything else because when I got into powerlifting, before I met you, it was just all Instagram. So all I saw was, the USAPL guy. So I thought the IPF was this big magical thing that, I thought that was the gold standard of powerlifting. I signed up for my first comp, and there was 8 people there. I've said this story before in the podcast, and it was just a really down in the dumps kind of competition, and it was quite not like, for me, it was the fun part was training with all my friends. That's why I made the swap. I swapped to GPC because you're prepping with all your friends, you're all training at the same time, you do all the same comp together, so it was cool. Yeah. So quite similar to you, kind of. But I didn't have any like guilt trip things like that. I had a little run in with Sean Muir, but it's nothing bad.
It's weird.
Yeah.
But that's it, man. Like, like I think from there I just transitioned from PA to GPC, and I've been competing within I've been competing in powerlifting since, and really enjoyed, and just continuing to try to get better.
And what are your best numbers? You went from 140, 147, 220. Now what are your best?
My best training numbers are 350 on my squat, 215 on my bench, and 335 on my deadlift.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Last comp was Pro Raw.
Yeah, Pro Raw in March down in Melbourne. That was awesome. It was my first Pro Raw.
Uh-huh.
I think I've never, for the last few years, I haven't been nervous for competing. I've been pretty blasé about it, if that makes sense. Like walking in, like, yeah, cool, I'm gonna have some fun and stuff. I don't know what it was, but as soon as I got to Pro Raw, I was fine. And then as soon as I started squatting, like under the bar, I just got this like fluctuation of excitement and crushing anxiety. So it's a good blend. Nescafe 65. But then, that was my first Pro Raw. Taking away some things from that to make sure, and I think it's more so experience is the lesson there, and that's going to hopefully lead into next year.
Mm-hmm. I want to also talk about like what you and Becca do and have created on the bodybuilding side of things, because it's something that's a little bit more unique to ZeroW Mackay. We've done some bodybuilding. I've had a few clients get on stage over the years, but very few, and I certainly don't look for it. I don't want it. It's not my area of expertise. Whereas you guys now have, as of a couple of weeks ago, over 10 pros.
Yeah,
that you've turned into pros.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So like
wow.
you guys know what you're doing up there, and I think it's really important that people know that Zero is more than just powerlifting, and that we've got that expertise on our team. But because you didn't do bodybuilding yourself, right? So how did you end up falling into that and get so good at it?
It actually happened because of a guy coming into Mass Nutrition named Clint Curry. He was my first ever person to help get on stage. He came in and he was about 4 weeks out from a competition that he was doing in Mackay's when Mackay had bodybuilding comps, A and B, and basically there was some breakdown with his coach, and he needed some help. He was basically just didn't know what he was doing for the next 4 weeks, or I'm not too sure what happened there, but essentially I took him on for the last 4 weeks. I coached him into that show, and he did quite well. It was his first time getting on stage, but then I had him for a full year after that. And the full year after that, I kind of just like dived into the deep end of really like learning how to program and the hypertrophy, and then learning about different energy systems and how then I could bring that into bodybuilding, because the way that I started coaching bodybuilding to now is obviously different. But I was always very big on what was not probably popular at the time. The popular thing with bodybuilding at the time was you got to be like lots of high reps, lots of sets, lots of reps all year round, and that's what was popular. This is 6 years ago. But now it's obviously a lot different. But I was always something that I was decent at the time was teaching people how to squat, bench, deadlift. So I wanted to always integrate that into my training and go through like periodizations of hypertrophy into strength blocks and into this sort of stuff. And I spent a full year with him, and then we went from like placing at shows to then he was winning shows, and then from there I started picking up clients through that. And then I met Beck. through the store. Actually, I was working at the time, part time, and from there started coaching her. But we were dating before that, and then started coaching her. She won her pro card, and then after she won her pro card, I kind of had a bit of a breakout year where in 2017 into 2018. I was probably taken a little bit more seriously within the sport, I think. And all of a sudden I went from having no online clients in bodybuilding to like 20 pretty quickly, and then a lot of face-to-face and stuff like that, and then just being able to work with people for longer periods of time opposed to just the prep and things like this as well. And then from there the next season we had 3 people go pro, and then and we've had over those, I think we've got maybe 11 or 12 pros now that we've coached from. And this is not just like, as Thomas said before, they were pros already, but these are people that have never competed before to turning them pro. So the pros that we have coached, or 2 pro, are people that have never competed before they've come to us. So these are things that using the Zero systems now, and then also using the I guess like the heavier end of what bodybuilding preps need as far as like nutrition and stuff goes, and the actual exertion of energy through cardio and things like this. We've been able to create some some pretty fantastic physiques, and have pros across NBA, A&B, Miss Fitness, and ICN. So some pretty cool cards there.
It's huge.
How does online coaching for you differ for powerlifting and bodybuilding? What are some key things that you notice in the athletes? What are the main differences?
Well, I think the main differences is like it's only the sport really, because like as far as check-ins and stuff goes, like you're still going to be giving guidance and reviews on technique and stuff like this, especially if someone's going through a phase where you're trying to bring up a certain component of their physique. You're going to be using every sort of every metric you can to be able to do that. So not just within the programming, but also like, hey, send me a video of your lat pull downs in your rows. So the same thing that you would see with someone's shoulders you're trying to fix in a bench or something like this, away from just cueing the main lift. Things that you're going to be tracking probably taking a little bit more emphasis on when it comes to bodybuilding opposed to powerlifting is having much more sort of body composition focus opposed to strength, so like you don't need to be strong to be a bodybuilder. It's definitely going to help in components of bringing it like in as far as bringing your physique up in certain areas and creating some type of density in these sort of things, but it's going to be more so relative to using those markers that you're trying to use to stay within for body composition. So like one of the markers that we like to use for body fat with our males is 15% in the off season to 17%. We don't want to be too much over that or too much under that. And then for women, it's roughly around the same as well, depending what they're competing with, like figure fitness or bikini. Obviously, with figure, when Emmy Piander competed, she was at like 5.2%.
She's unreal.
She was shredded.
She was shredded. Yeah, she was shredded.
That's crazy.
Yeah, she was. She's a freak. But then, for a lot of bikini girls, they only need to be just under 10. Like, and most of the time, it's a very blanket statement, obviously, but most of the time they only need to be under, 10%, So there's markers like that you use. But as far as like the actual online coaching and stuff goes, man, to answer that, not a whole lot different, because the check-ins that you're going to be doing with powerlifting or whatever it may be is still going to be using the same things to try and track, to improve the athlete. It's not going to be any much more different than that.
You weren't here, Thomas, but Impianita? Pianata?
I don't know how to call it, MEP.
Well,
Big dog P.
Margaret.
She came in for a wee tune-up session before a comp a couple weeks ago. You were in America, and me and Bridget just couldn't stop staring at her. She was jacked to the gills. She looked unreal. She was just 3D.
I saw her posing at Southside. I saw those photos pop up, and I was like, what?
I've never seen a person in real life that jacked, like a female, like legit.
That shredded.
Yeah, she went pro this year. I've been working with her for 3.5 years now.
Yeah.
She went pro this year, and what a season for her, man. She went the first season going pro. She won her first ever pro show, and she came second at the Miss Fitness Pro Show against a huge, like it was like 7 or 8 competitors in a figure pro lineup, and very, very good quality. So she had an absolute breakout, and a very good and a very successful season.
So you were mentioning before, like when we were doing the gratitudes, that you were able to go to the States, yourself, Becca, and one competitor,
Yep, Kara.
and what was that experience like for you guys?
That was pretty cool. I think Australia, as far as running competitions go, with what I've seen with powerlifting and bodybuilding, is still ahead of the game. I think America does a really, really good job. I think they do the best job at their massive, massive competitions. But then being able to, like, when the girls competed, for instance, that comp was outstanding. It was awesome. As far as like the setup and stuff goes. But I would still say Australia, from an average standpoint, has facilitated better competitions.
Mm-hmm.
But the girls did really well. Both of them got first in the overalls for their given classes. So that was really exciting that we were able to come home with that. And actually, Team Australia got first for fitness, figure, and bikini.
I remember you saying that Becca won, and she was upset that she won. She beat everyone because she's like, yeah, but I wanted to beat better people.
Yeah, man.
That's the kind of athlete she is.
Man, Becca's a finisher. So with her, she only anything she does, it always gets finished. Like it's unlike me, but she is a hunter for competition. Hey, she wants to be going up against the absolute best. And unfortunately, at Worlds this year, I think she felt a little bit underwhelmed with that, because the Worlds that she did 2 years ago was fucking tough. And she came fifth of that at probably the toughest Worlds lineup for natural bodybuilding in a long time. And that's from all federations too. That's not just like for ICN or something. That's pros from all federations came to that show. This time they did as well. She was a little bit disappointed, I think, because she was like undeniable. She was the best I've ever seen her. But Becca, being the athlete she is, she knew that there was competitors that weren't able to make the show. So she was
just after things started opening up.
Yeah. Where, I think, in 2024, 2025 is when I think she's looking at competing again. So no doubt we'll go back over and she'll be able to settle her restlessness from competing with the comp that she wants to compete at.
What's it been like transitioning from coach/online coach into gym owner life?
Ask me off air. No, it's good, man. I think the biggest one is the biggest learning that I've had is there's two learnings that I've had. One is I no longer am the only person that is the driver of the ship. Like it's going from a sole trader into a company. Where the decisions that we make as a group impact the business, opposed to being the person that it's just like making those decisions on the fly and these sort of things. So that's been one, is probably the communication with that. And then the second part to that is learning how to manage a team. So learning what people are good at, what people aren't so good at, and then being able to put that into a system or into a team environment where we can make sure we still get the job done to the quality and standard that we know and what we're known for as well. So knowing people are good at certain tasks and putting them to a position as a manager and stuff is really important. And when you're looking back on things that could have been done better and stuff, most of the time it's because you could have delegated better or needed more time. Or maybe you needed to set a time standard. So these sort of, a timestamp. So when it comes to these sort of things, I think the biggest one with that sort of stuff is not only your own coaching and stuff, but you've also got a whole team of people you're responsible for now too. And being responsible for that means that you're also, sometimes you're an authority, sometimes you're just a shoulder to talk to, or to lean on to talk to. At times you're the guy that's making the jokes to pick the morale up, or sometimes you're just doing whatever job needs to be done. Sometimes you're changing toilet rolls. Sometimes you're mopping gym floors. I don't do that, but sometimes you might be. But you're doing everything you can for the team's success, but you're also filling the void in where you can as well.
The trick is to get the vacuum out and then get your staff to take a photo and then post that photo and then give them the vacuum back. And be like, never above, leading from the front.
So every time I'm away or something, Thomas will send me a photo or a video of him doing something like that.
Taking out the bins.
In the trenches.
Yeah, in the trenches. My back's sore. But I think that's it, man. That's probably been the biggest difference. And probably just making sure you're always available as well.
Have you gotten used to walking in the gym, or does it still feel new every day?
Fuck, man, there's some mornings I walk in and it's routine. I walk in, I don't have my shoes on. I put my shoes on when I get into the gym. Usually go make myself coffee. As I'm doing that, I'm unloading the storage container at the back, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean, eh?
I know. I think, no, you missed what Thomas meant.
Walking, yeah, but what I'm getting to is that
I know.
yeah, no matter
Wait, what is unloading the storage? You mean doing a poo?
yeah,
Okay.
and the wombats rustle. I
don't understand country slang.
this guy. But even with that routine and every single day, when I see that zero sign at the front, when I walk into the gym, and even looking at the zero sign behind the mono, it's always a feeling of like, we're here, like we did it, but did we? Like, why is it always the same feeling of feeling like it's new and it's brand new? And it's always so exciting. Like, things are always changing, things are always going, and no matter what sort of day you're having, or no matter the stresses you may be under at the time, like it's a constant in your life that's forever evolving and forever remaining a big part of who we are now.
For sure.
How do you feel, Thomas? Do you still feel like that?
For sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, it doesn't change. Even when the gym, like, we turn 10 next week. Even when the gym had like 8 floor mats total, I had a mobility area, which was just 4 mats on the concrete with like 3 rollers on it.
Fuck yeah.
And we had homemade dip bars above it, and I'd look at that. Man, that's fucking unreal. That was so nice. Had all the kettlebells on the floor there as well. This is just crazy. Yeah, it doesn't change.
Because we always sometimes think, we're like, oh, why does Thomas always come here? He's got 3 gyms to choose from. Like, but this is probably, it's your baby.
Yeah, but I feel the same in the other gyms as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no better feeling every morning driving up, whatever, obviously I get here 7, 8 a.m. When I drive up and Bridget and James are on the floor coaching and just seeing them do their thing and seeing the members chatting, it's awesome.
I think it's not the gym though, it's the representation of what's been created, right? Like, it's you're able to walk into this physical thing that so many other people away from yourself call their third home. Like, you're able to walk into a place that people see as safe, they see as a place to grow, and they actually like enjoy coming to, not just to train, but to be around people that are like-minded. I think that thinking about it for me is what excites me every day, knowing there could be someone coming in here right now that's facing a battle or whatever it may be, and they still are here every single day, and they've made this a priority to happen. And also a representation of the hard work people have put in from the MPL day, like this is talking about ZeroW Mackay, the MPL days, to when we were against the grain, and to all those people and members of that community that have what they've done for this place to happen, and knowing that it's not just how much it means to you, but to everyone else as well.
Mm.
One thing that I like get a wee kick out of is because, when Thomas first started Zero, or Thomas, he was the face of the business, so everyone knew Zero because of Thomas. One thing that I like, Thomas, is when you'll come in, you'll go, "Who's that guy?"
Mm.
You know what I mean? And these guys have like immersed themselves in the Zero culture, and Thomas still doesn't even know who they are. And I get a little I think that's really cool.
Yeah, no, the amount of times that I have to ask, is that person a member, or do we need to chase them up?
Mm.
I love it. It's so awesome. And I mean, like, I guess I'll talk about this more on the American episode with Daniel, but we went to a gym that the culture was super disappointing at. And it made us both walk away from that gym and go, like, this is the perfect picture of what we never want Zero to be. And we will need to make sure that Zero stays what it is, or we need to get better at forging community and culture, because we never want it to go in this direction. And like, it's something that Kahn has done so beautifully up there, and the team, Kahn, Dean, Carly, Becca, and Wick, of course, have done so beautifully up there. Jamie and Lisa do it beautifully in Brisbane, and Stenzel too. And then the guys at Southside, you guys here, is like, the culture comes from the top down. So I can't create the culture anymore because I'm not on the floor at every gym. It's you guys that are on the floor every day that create the culture. And it's a continuation of what was already there, but you guys live and breathe the culture, so it just exudes through it. And I think it is something that is so unique to Zero. I'm sure your people who have come down here and trained at the gyms here, anyone from here that's gone up there, you feel like you're at Zero. And that's weird. Like, think of a World Gym. If you go to World Gym Ashmore every day, and then you go up to Mackay and you go, it'll feel like a different gym. Same name, same color scheme, same mural, whatever. It's a different gym. Whereas you can go to another Zero and it feels like the same gym because of the people there.
Well, that's like, when people come here from Mackay, they already know who me or Bridget are or whatever kind of thing. So, you say hi. It's like, oh yeah, know you on Instagram. It's like, make yourself at home.
Yeah.
And then, we've all got the same kind of equipment, but it's it's cool how it's like it's, even though there's multiple gyms, like, you got multiple World's gyms, Snap Fitnesses, but they're all fucking different. And that's their business model to an extent. But it's cool how, like, we're all one kind of thing.
That's my favorite thing, I think, is being able to come to the zeros down here and stuff, and being able, like, you follow each other and stuff, and you get down here, then you walk into the south side, north side here, wherever it may be. Well, for me, from Mackay, and I know a lot of the members already because I've seen them posted on, reshared on Zero, or I've been able to, like, walk into the gym before and seen them, or we follow each other on social media, or maybe we've liked a post or something, and you just get to know those lifters. And so when you get there, you don't even really need to introduce yourself. It's kind of just like, hey, how you been? How's your training?
So cool. All right. Does anyone have any final questions for Kahn before we ask the other questions?
No.
That's what I thought, TJ.
So if no one's picked up on it, there's some imaginary beef between CJ and Kahn, and I'm pretty sure we're going to film a fight later on.
It's just from Kahn's side, I promise.
He was hitting the bag one day on his social media. I messaged him and I said, the bag doesn't hit back, brother. And I said, make sure you bring your mitts from down next. He's been dogging me. He's been ghosting me everywhere.
Ghosting you.
Oh, I mean, that's just him ghosting Zero in general.
Yeah. He's a UFC guy now.
Yeah. Only trains at gyms that have rings in the middle of them.
Yeah.
He's one of these guys that's like, I got to be the strongest person in the gym.
Yes. Yeah. That's the only time I feel
Did a body
strong.
attack class.
Empowered.
Empowered, yeah.
He brings his cameras on. I'll film you idiots for an hour.
Yeah.
Go back to my safe haven.
This is a fucking waste of my time.
Safe haven. God.
Could have put my 19-ounce gloves on my film.
Nah. I love going to a commercial gym every now and again. Like it's cool training away and going to commercial gyms and just seeing the memes. Seeing the memes, but also like I just like observing. I like observing gym culture because we've got such a unique gym culture that I forget what it's like to not be in a Zero. It's kind of a good reminder.
Yeah, I've had my hiatus from training here. I'm back now.
Yeah, we know.
like I had a.
Yeah, we noticed exactly.
We know.
Do you know what I mean? I was like, all right, sweet. The commercial gym was fun. I just needed to, a bit of a fresh air. I still go there for swimming and some like running sessions and that, but I was like, I can't train here anymore.
I get inspiration from them because my goal with Zero is to commercialize strength training, and commercial gyms work for particular reasons. Like there's a science behind why they're laid out, how they're laid out, with certain things they do there, and we forget about this in small gyms because we get used to just doing what we do. So I get some inspiration. Anyway, what are the questions we're going to ask?
Kahn, you can invite 3 people to dinner. Who are they, dead or alive?
Sam Burgess?
Really?
Yeah. My favourite rugby
The
player.
footy
of all
player?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam, yeah.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Sam.
One of the toughest blokes on the planet.
Yeah.
Oh, he plays 5 back.
He plays 5 guys.
Sorry, half 8.
Five
half
guys.
8.
Yeah.
8.
Just rule my hero. Tesla. Just to see
The car? Yep.
Yeah. Nah, just I forget his first name, but he's the guy that created Infinite
It's my
Energy.
answer, but it's Nicola.
Nikola Tesla. Oh.
No, him because I wanted to know if they actually killed him or not, or if he just died by natural causes. And when I say they, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to say him. Or Spotify delete us.
I don't know how big you think we are, Kahn. They're not going to delete us.
I was on Rogan. And then the third one, probably my favourite chess player of all time, and that would be Sir Magnus.
Ooh, okay.
The goat.
Why do you guys know so much about chess?
Yeah, you nerds.
Is this the guy that retired recently?
No, he's still pretty active, but he was like through from 2016ish to like very recently. He was the most dominant chess player in the world.
Serious question. Why do you need to retire from chess?
Got carpal tunnel.
Didn't some real famous chess player retire recently?
There's been a couple that have retired recently.
What? Sure. So that's it. They're not going to pick up. They're not going to have a few pick. Do you call them pickup games like in basketball?
Yeah, checkers.
Yeah.
Checkers.
The poor man's chess.
So, what makes someone a grandmaster? Is that winning a particular comp, or is that like the equivalent of just saying a pro?
No, so there's like meets, if that makes sense. So there's like competitions that people go to, and I forget what it is, but from I think it's the level below Grandmaster. I don't know if it's Master or it's called something else, but to get to a Grandmaster, you have to get. It's not as simple as like going to a meet and then all of a sudden you become a Grandmaster because you got on the first table.
Yeah.
You have to actually get. I think you have to apply and get signed off to be one. So they look at like your track history, they look at all that sort of stuff, and then you get signed off to be a Grandmaster. But there's only specific places you can get that done. So I think places in Europe is one of them. But it's massive over there. Like if you watch The Queen's Gambit on Netflix, it actually goes into a lot of the ways that you become a Grandmaster chess player.
So that's the only like chess cultural thing I know is I've seen that.
Yeah, so
I love that show.
Oh, it's unreal. If you actually like, a lot of that is actually true, and as to how it happens. Players are getting paid like hundreds of thousands of dollars to play chess and to win. Crazy.
It's such a hard process. You got to win so many games, and you got to be so active.
I'm mind blown by why you all are chess experts.
The only reason why I'm a chess expert, I'm not a chess expert. Okay. I'm very terrible at the game.
Grandmaster over here.
barely play checkers. Daniel Lapitan?
Oh, is he really
He's
good?
a protege.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and he's like ranked. So if you Google his name, it comes up. He's actually a ranked chess player. So he teaches chess full time.
Oh, I want to verse him. He'll smash me.
Yeah.
That's
So he was who I picked off because all I know commercially is Magnus because
Yeah.
he's just as a kid was smashing top dogs.
Yeah, wow. That's cool.
why Sam Burgess?
I was listening to a podcast that he done recently about his mentality around like competition and stuff like this, and one of the things he talks about is like the rugby union. I think it's the English rugby union team. So like they just basically sacked all their coaching staff quite recently for their World Cup campaign, and have brought in like a whole, quite recently, sorry, over the last like 5 years, and they've just brought in like a whole fresh coaching staff. And he talked about like it wasn't the coach's fault as to why they didn't, because England's a very dominant like rugby union nation, as to why like they weren't winning. It was the players and the culture they had within the players community. Like the coaches were doing the best that they could, and yes, the culture and the leadership does come from the coaches down, but if you don't have a group of individuals that want to come together as a team, it's never going to be successful. So he talks about that sort of stuff, but he also talks about the leadership of what he did and what he had at the Rabbits. And he talks about a story with like him and Ben Tier like going like almost fisticuffs because Ben Tier wanted to go out after they beat, I think it was the Gold Coast Titans. They beat the Gold Coast Titans, gave them a pretty good hiding. This is the year that the Rabbits won the grand final, when Sam Burgess and the Burgess boys, I think all three of them played in that game.
Yeah.
So they won that GF that year, and they were like getting ready for the finals, and Ben Teo and a lot of the lads wanted to go out. And the coach was like, what do you want to do, guys? Do you want to go out or not? Blah, blah, blah. And Sam Burgess stood up and said, no one's going out. We're all staying in. We'd have got finals footy to play. No one is going out tonight. I'm not saying you can't have a beer, but no one's going out. We don't need the press. We don't need any of this sort of stuff. We don't need anyone getting in trouble. And the reason why I would want to have dinner with him is because of that leadership, to see like how he got there. Like, was he naturally born with it? Like, is it something he's developed? Hear a little bit about his story, and what it was like to be in a moment of a grand final with like a broken cheekbone. And all these he played most of the game with broken cheekbone.
It was the first tackle that he broke his cheekbone.
Yeah.
He's literally one of the fiercest competitors in rugby league like history.
Yeah.
He's I've got one of my favorite moments of him. It was Sonny Bill's return to the NRL.
Oh yeah.
So it's Sonny Bill Williams, who might be able to get on the podcast, by the way. I'm going to do a session here with him on the 19th.
Nice.
That's pretty cool, eh?
Huge.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Don't know who it is. Is that the guy on the pool trucks?
On the pool trucks?
There's like a pool company, and they've got some famous...
Nah, Sonny Bill's like arguably the most famous rugby league and rugby union player ever.
But he's boxed. He's done
Who am I
heaps of
thinking
stuff.
of?
I don't know.
pull trucks. No, I don't.
But
I'm going to look up. Keep talking. I want to look up what this guy looks like.
yeah, so hopefully get him and Bodine Thompson.
Oh wow.
Yeah, in for a session, which would be cool. CJ's going to film it, so it's going to be fun. What was I saying before I just flexed?
Sam Burgess being fierce.
Yeah.
Did he do boxing as well?
Yeah, he's
Yes.
current boxer now. Really good boxer too. Yeah, so Sam Burgess, Sonny Bill's returned to the NRL. He was known as a big hitter. You know, could put on the biggest shots he was since a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
And Sam Burgess, first play of the ball, just sprints straight at Sonny Bill Williams. And it was fucking epic. Because, you know, it's known. You don't run at Sonny Bill. And Sam Burgess off the kickoff just gets it. He just picks him out and just runs straight at his line.
Yeah, man.
He's just got the biggest nuts.
Yeah, but you talk to her, or you listen to a lot of the podcasts.
He's
and
so
stuff,
smart.
Yeah, a lot of the Barstool podcasts, all those guys, they do features with ex-NRL players, and say who was the hardest competitor. And you never hear Sam Burgess' name as he ran the hardest or he tackled the hardest. But when they say who was the biggest and who was the worst person to play against, a lot of them say Sam Burgess because it didn't matter how tired he was. It didn't matter how good your team was or who you had on your team. He was hitting you from dusk till dawn, shoulder to shoulder, ear to ear, field to field. He just did not give a shit. He was out there to make your life shit for that 80 minutes.
That's I don't know if you know this, but we've had a couple NRL boys on the podcast.
Yeah,
and they've
I listen to the podcast a lot.
and they've all said who they think the toughest player is that they've ever played with, and they both said Benny Hunt.
Yeah, they've heard he's an absolute menace as well.
Next question. I don't have one, Thomas. What do you got?
No, this is about it. We need to start getting ready.
Yeah,
Cool.
sweet.
Let's do it.
We're going to set up this comp. We're on the hour. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you for having me, boys.
Check
It's
out
been a
Kahn
pleasure.
Stephenson. Check out ZeroW Mackay. They're doing God's work up there.
Yes.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, my
God's
boys.
plan,
Thank
baby.
you very much, my friend.
All right, we're out.
Ciao.
Thank you so much for listening to the Zero Podcast. If you want more information, head to our Instagram, @zero_weakness. Hit the link in the bio for all of our services and any information on upcoming workshops and events. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review so we can have a broader reach and answer more people's questions. Thank you once more.